Hello, this is Gravity Challenged. Today I'm going to be showing you a Staghound anti-aircraft armored car that's made by Italeri. It's a model that you might have seen sitting on the shelf and looked at the price and said, geez, that's very expensive for an Italeri kit. Well, I agree with you, it is. But it's a little above what you're usually getting from Italeri. They've put a lot of effort into this model. I'm going to open it up. We're going to take a look at the parts. Again, the nice instruction book Italeri likes to give us. Lots of good pictures of building. Nice turret interior. You can super detail that if you're into it, or just leave it as it is. Here's the painting instructions, and for those people that are interested, you can have it in many different camouflage schemes, and they have nice decals too. You can have it with Polish Lancers in Italy. You can have it with the Canadian Army, United States Army, and the Polish Corps. We're also based in Italy. Of course, anyone who has any leftover decals can always do it up as a British vehicle too. There are thousands of these produced during the Second World War. They were very popular, with lots of different variations too. Let's take a look at some of the spurs. As you can see, they're still in the bag. I usually try to keep my models until I go to work on them in the packages, but in this case I'll open it up so we don't get all the glare. The reason I like to keep them in the packages is there's often little parts that fall off of the spurs and they get lost, and then you have an incomplete model and you finally go to work on it and you're making parts, or trying to order them from a manufacturer, which is even more difficult in many cases. So here you get a nice look at the wheels. Pretty good detail on them. One thing I find about Italeri is they do try to give you good quality plastic to work with too. There we go. We can look at the 50 caliber machine gun. It's one of them. There were two in this vehicle. They made these mainly for when they were having let's say reconnaissance patrols and so on would go out. They'd need some kind of anti-aircraft protection. Often that was the case. In the Middle East, that happened quite frequently. They'd be attacked by aircraft. And also, with two machine guns, heavy ones at that, 50 calibers, nothing to sneeze at, they could combat against soft armor like trucks, other armored cars, and of course ground troops. I certainly wouldn't want to be going after a armored car with two machine guns in it firing at me. It wouldn't be much fun. Now when you look at the model of this, it looks quite small, but if you're ever fortunate enough to see a preserved vehicle, like in a museum collection, they're pretty big. They're very high and very narrow, so I can imagine being inside of them wouldn't be the most comfortable thing. Wouldn't have a lot of room to move around, that's for sure. And out in the Middle East where it would get hot, imagine how it would be inside. Oh, murder. It's so hot. Now we're going to take a look at the lower part of the turret. Now you're going to have to take a look at the detail and try to get an appreciation of what Italeri has accomplished with this. There's the lower turret ring here. That's the turret ring, that's the bottom part. They've gone to the effort of putting some detail in there that you won't see all the time. There's more parts for the gun elevating mechanism in here. And there's the turret basket there. And elevating stuff. You get a better look. There. They've done a fair bit of detail on that. Now, if you, like I was saying earlier, if you're someone who likes to build their own interiors or do a detail in an engine compartment, this is a nice model to start. And open hatch positions here for the engine vent. Look at that. See where they've done the vent? You can see right through. See? You can see right through there. So if you wanted to go to the trouble of making an engine compartment and putting an engine in this, you could. There's lots of research material available for you to look it up to, what type of engine and so on. I have at one point, but I've forgotten it now. It was a while back. Here's more turret parts. That's the front of the hull. There it is, the front of the hull right here. There's the windows for the crew to look out. There's the turret. Move this aside. You've seen that bit now. And now we'll show you why it's expensive. Italeri has done something very different and very nice with this. They've included an etched brass fret with a multitude of beautiful little parts on here for you to use. Look at that. This is nice. Not the usual for Italeri at all. So they've added a bit to the price. Some companies, like, oh, what's that name of them? Dragon, for instance. It's pretty much standard for them to have some etched metal in there for you. Now here's the markings. It's pretty good. They look nice. The colors are all right. You have 45, that's the reconnaissance unit. Markings there. The green and blue, this is the Canadian one. It was the same for the British and other countries that were with Britain, except the United States. They had their own system of marking. Well, that's the decals. Your time to stare at them. I don't know about you, but I certainly appreciate some nice quality decals, and these certainly are nice quality. And also in the bag, you'll see that odd colored piece in here. It's kind of gray looking. That's the backing of a clear sheet, so you can have little windows put in the front. Remember I was showing you the front with the two openings? That's where that would go. I'll put all of this back together. I say, would I recommend this model? Sure. It's great. Or if you want, you can go and buy a very expensive resin model from, let's say, Accurate Armor or someone like that, if you really want to get into the highest level of detail. But then you're really paying a lot. And that's fine if you can afford it and you want that kind of extreme detailing. Sure, it's worth it to you. But for me, sorry about that. But for me, this is enough. I'm quite happy with it. I would build this right from the box with a few little extras here and there, and nice paint job. I think it's going to look just great. That's it.